I don't know how well this is going to come out. This is, this is now the time of the year where it's getting dark at 6:57 p.m. And, I was just sitting here talking with a co-worker. He's a good Christian guy. He's kept me sane a little bit. I'm trying to make this a little less crooked, but I don't think that's going to work. I've had a lot on my plate over the last couple months, and to be honest, one day I was kind of, well, they have this gate like mostly closed right now. And I don't want to say I was like in a freak out mode, but I was just like, the pressure was more than I could take. And he actually talked to me. We both kind of blessed each other, and it was a good thing. And he moved to night shift. Made me a little sad because I'm still on day shift. I'm more of a night shift person, but right now I have a whole lot of stuff going on that being a day shift guy will actually make a lot easier. For instance, I know I mentioned a kid coming in. That I believe that being on days will help with that, although I don't know. I've never done that before, so I don't know. I keep mentioning this every video. The Envoy's still running amazingly. I've put 174 miles. Well, I think I had about 30 some miles on it when I did the plugs. So say 140 some miles on it since then. And normally at about 175, like about 174.4. Well, actually just rolled over 174.5. Normally at this point I'm getting close to needing to put gas in it. And right now my needle has just fallen a little bit below half tank. So I'm figuring now, instead of about 240 miles to the tank, I'm looking at probably approximately 100 or 260, maybe 280. I'll know soon. But so this thing's running pretty good. I've been doing better than that. Like when I first did the repair, my God, man, I love being in the throttle because this thing will just launch you back. And now it still does that, but now I'm over it. And I'm just leaving work. Him and I were talking about something, and it turned into politics. Actually, a funny thing, it turned into politics a little bit, and he's on the same page as me. The president only has so much power unless they use executive orders to bypass Congress, which President Obama and George Bush did a lot of. And Bill Clinton, man, his tops both of them. Nobody talks about that though. But and like the thing is whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, nobody should be in power as long as Congress and Senate have. Most of these guys have been in power longer than I've been alive, which I mentioned that before. And he says, yeah, the same thing with him. He's 39. Actually, the funny thing is, I'm trying to hook him up with my best friend. He's a nice guy. He's like, obviously, if I'm gonna hook him up with my best friend, I wouldn't think he's a bad guy. He's 39. No kids. He's doing some outreach stuff with his church. He's a good guy. And I was trying to get him to friend me on Facebook. He's like, I don't have Facebook though. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, hey, if I can friend him on Facebook, I could connect him with her and play a little matchmaker game. But he's not on Facebook. I just realized I'm headed the wrong way. I'm going back to my old apartment instead of home. But yeah, I'll render this soon enough. I can just go past there and see if I have mail. If I don't have mail, or if I have mail, I'll stop. But my job's going pretty well. They seem to like me here. That's a good thing. They all know that I'm an honest person when it comes to my work. And they're talking about putting me in a different location, which would not necessarily be a downgrade, but it would be more of a lateral shift. And it might actually, so it's funny, it's less, in some ways it's a lot of responsibility, but it's less responsibility and less work, but slightly more pay. And I think I'll go for that, because I'm not sure yet, but I think, because they say that they like what I do, like, because I help people in a way that this other position does all the time. And don't mind me, I'm just picking at a little scab here. I'm not picking my nose. But yeah, they're like, well, you're always helping people this way. Why don't, we could pay you for it. I'm like, that wouldn't be bad. It would still the way they said this, it would still kind of keep me in the IT, but they would do something a little different with the way I work, which is interesting, because they're looking for a couple other people for the IT position. They're looking for a couple people to walk the floor and help people that they need, when they need it. My job mostly entails fixing iPods and laptops. Like these yoga, I gotta be honest, like these Lenovo Yoga laptops, the ThinkPad Yoga 12 things that flip over, and I know that's dark, I apologize. I don't think that's gonna that's gonna make it worse. I like their build quality, but I keep having to replace keyboards. The keys keep falling off. Nobody can find the keys, so now I have to replace a whole keyboard because of keys. Although what I've been doing, Lenovo does not require me to send them back. So I've been keeping these keyboards because it's not always the same key. Like for instance, today I had one come over and it was missing the Alt key next to the on the right side of the space bar. So I had another keyboard that had a good Alt key, and I was able to swap that over and reduce downtime. And my boss was telling me, well, go just throw them out since they don't need to be returned. I'm like, how about this? I'll keep a couple, especially the ones that have the most keys, because they are a source of good keys. He goes, oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of it that way. And that and the track pads keep busting on them too. They just stop working altogether. Which is funny because, well, I am definitely in the dark. I'm sorry, but it's getting dark out here. It's illegal to drive with the lights on like this, and it also makes it look weird. But I'm behind a truck doing 40 in the 50 zone. But yeah, it's funny because they're also touchscreen, and so why the mouse, and most people I know use them as a touchscreen more than as with a regular with the trackpad, but yet these trackpads just die. I mean, they're a nice laptop, don't get me wrong. Oh my god, they have a beautiful display. I tell you what, Lenovo has a beautiful display. I believe these ones are I can't remember. I haven't really looked into them yet, but I believe they're a 1080. Or they might be a 720. I'm not 100% sure on that. Which I know I can check the resolution next time I have one in my hand. I work, I'll tell you what. I have a. I can't show. I mean, I can show it, but it's in my laptop bag in the back. But I have an iPhone 6s Plus that I use. That I have. It's so that they can contact me at all times, and I also have an iPad that I use with them. That's my primary tool. I gotta tell you, I don't like iOS. There's just a lot of stupid things about iOS that I'm a long time Android user. Like, if I was allowed to show a few things on these, like, I mean, I don't think anybody from work is watching these videos, but I'm not risking it to see what they I would do a head-to-head thing, how iOS feels to a long-term Android user. I feel like that could be a good thing, a good video. And in fact, because like the thing that we use the most is the iPods. I think they're the 5th generation. It might be. I don't even know what generations Apple has. Don't hate. I just don't know. And they are they're okay. I mean, but like a lot, because what we do with them is they have barcode scanners, and they when orders come in, they scan the card with barcode scanner and it tells them where to go. I built most of that app for, I think I released it 9/24 is my last release of the app. We have an app that tells everything. I keep making changes because people keep giving me feedback. I have actually some of the last changes I made, I was told not to. But hey, it is what it is. I had a person come up and ask me if I could change this one thing, and it's the way things are mapped. And I went around, I asked a few people, hey, I said, I was a picker. I did some picking for for about 90 days or something. Actually, no, about 60 days. And before I got switched over to IT, and they're like, I'm like, look, I remember this being a pain in the ass. I said, I had a person suggest this. What do you think? And I had multiple people say that would be damn near a godsend. And so I went ahead and made these changes. Or actually, I spoke to my manager, which apparently, get this, 2 weeks ago, we had some people from corporate in. And when I was hired as IT. They said I had to prove myself with the temp agency, and then they'll hire me on, which I did. They said I had to prove myself on the floor first. Then they put me in IT still as a temp, and then they hired me on. So that's good. But he said, okay, you're going to IT. You're going to be an IT specialist. Okay, cool. No big deal. So 2 weeks ago, we had some people from corporate in, and he says, my plant manager says, this is my back shift IT supervisor, Eric. I said, supervisor? He said, since when? I didn't really think about the fact I do more paperwork than the other person. But there's really not much that a supervisor has to do. I don't see mail there. So, you know, it's not like I really have a team under me. I'm just there. So he says, this is my IT supervisor, Eric. And I looked at him, I said, supervisor? What the hell? He goes, you didn't know you were a supervisor? I said, no. He goes, well, don't you look at your paycheck? I'm like, or don't you look at your pay stub? I said, my pay is correct for the math that I've done, so why should I look at it? He goes, oh, well, if you looked at your paycheck, it would say IT SUP. And I looked at it, and he's right. So I'm like, I didn't even know I was a supervisor. But I said, like, it hasn't changed anything. I can't do anything without my manager's approval, so it really changes nothing. And, but hey, you know what? I'm happy. Everybody else is happy. You know, I just do what I gotta do. And, that's it. My job isn't that complicated, you know. I have that, oh my god, I have the, screen replacement on these iPods down to a science. If I was allowed to film it, I would show you so many shortcuts you can take. I mean, it's just like I could do it in damn near record time, but yet I can't tell you shit about iOS. Excuse my language, but I work in a warehouse, and I just had somebody trying to kill me here. By the way, if you want good cream chip beef, that Deepwater Diner right there has good cream chip beef. It's not great, but it's good. If that makes sense. And I keep forgetting to bring my dash cam. You know, stuff like this is why I have it. I can't believe at 7:14 it is this dark right now. And here we go, stopping at a stoplight. These people in front of me are doing 35, or actually less than 35 in a 52. Not 52, but 50 TOO. Should I tell those people in the Ford Explorer in front of me that there's a recall on that cracked balance? They, Ford Explorer, like, I forget what year it is. I think that's like a 2004. There's a plastic valance right below the wiper, and it has the Ford emblem in it. There's a recall on them because the way they're designed, they crack. And they all crack in the same exact spot. And recall means it can be fixed for free. But so many people drive around with them cracked. What happens is a lot of people buy them aftermarket, drive around with a primer gray one no matter what color the car is, and it cracks because it's made to the original manufacturer's specifications, not the updated manufacturer specifications. And so I don't know if a lot of people do that. Although, given the age, it might be a TSB now. It might no longer be a recall. They might not do it for free anymore. I don't know. Ford's weird. And GMC is weird too. There's a lot of... the reason I took this to the dealer in February to do an oil change. I also told him to make sure that there's no recalls open for, you know... They told me that there was a lot of things that they could do. They told me to check for a couple things. I don't remember what. They said they'd keep an eye out for. I think it was mainly to do with lighting. Oh, that's why we're going so slow, because it's a guy with a Cadillac Escalade with what appeared to be 26s or 28s with some crappy tires on them. And it's raining, if you can't tell. This is what our whole week has been, is bloody rain. And but you know, I've made it through. I have another video I might be putting up. It's a vlog from the other day. I was testing some new software. I later found out I can do it on iMovie, but I hate iMovie. And I honestly hate editing video on my Mac. I know that might sound crazy, but it seems like the simplest of things to do in Windows Movie Maker are so much more difficult on Final Cut Pro and on iMovie, and they don't produce the same quality. Like, or it's kind of weird because, like, if I, like, how do I explain? It's like on Final Cut Pro, I'll take 15 minutes of, or say 20 minutes of 1080p 60 frames per second video, add a title. The original file is like 1.8 gig. I'll add a title screen, add a credit screen, and to render it in 1080p like it was originally is like 24 gig file. It's like, what the fornicate? Excuse my language. But, you know, I'm trying to give you, like, the thing is right now, I'm trying to give you guys videos. I'm trying to give you quality videos, but I don't want to give you an overabundance of useless videos that are not quality. So it looks like it, but, you know, I think having this here is going to give me more videos I can make. And hopefully this guy doesn't back into me with a Camaro, but if he does, hopefully he has good insurance. I have decent insurance, but not great. And of course, hear that? I'm hoping that's just blown off the trees. Yeah, it looks like it was just blown off the tree. I'm like, just as I'm about to pull in, the it's gonna rain harder, because that's the luck I have. And I'm just about to pull into my humble commode, and one of the things I gotta be careful of is this engine runs so much more quiet now, and it's easier to speed through here. But with this, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a blessed day.